So we have seen S3 services, right? In previous classes, we have completed S3, EFS, Glacier, and we have discussed what is FSX, storage gateway, and AWS backup. Now, in this session, we'll see what is RDS, I mean databases, completely in database. So under databases, we will be doing lab for only few. No, there are many databases. If you want to do lab for each and everything, every database will take one day to do. So we'll mainly focus on RDS, which is our today's topic, and DynamoDB and Redshift. Okay. So remaining we will discuss why they are used. Okay. So today's topic is RDS. So relational database systems. So what exactly this RDS is? Say you have MySQL, you have Oracle, you have SQL, and you have MongoDB, PostgreSQL, Cassandra. Like this, lot of databases are there, right? Then what is this RDS? So Amazon has designed a system. So RDS, inside this RDS. Okay, before that we'll discuss how the traditional three-tier architecture will look like. Okay, so let's assume these are VPC. So yeah, so you have an availability zone here. So let me put this one here. So we have three availability zones, right? So for example, if you want to make your application to high available systems, so what you'll do, you'll keep your web servers here and your app servers here and your databases here, right? So usually, so this is a typical three-tier architecture. So you'll separate your web servers, app servers, and databases. This is how it looks like. Okay, let me. And app servers, DB. So this is zone 1, and I mean zone A, and this zone B, and this is zone C, and this is our VPC, right? VPC, and you have your internet here. And you have your DNS mapped here. So we will discuss about this Route 53. And we have internet gateway and NLB network load balancer, right? And take this one. I'll say elastic load balancer. Okay, what exactly happens is, say from internet, you will be mapped to our Route 53 DNS through internet gateway, and from here you will get your traffic to elastic load balancer. Now the load balancer will distribute the. Okay, let me put this little map. Okay, so this is your load balancer to Route 53, and now your load balancer will split your load to your different applications. So if any service or if any availability zone is down, or if any web server is down, so for example, if this availability zone is down, so the traffic whatever is coming from internet will be routed only to this, and it will be routed only to this. So that is what we have seen till now, right? So this is a typical three-tier architecture for a web-based applications what we are hosting traditionally. Now here we have a problem. So say for example, yes, this complete, I agree, this is a high availability application. But say for example, whenever you say, for example, I have a request like this. So this request is coming through DNS load balancer. I'm going to this one, and it is served back. So from app web server, you're going to app server. From DB, you're fetching data, and you are posting the data to DB, and you're getting back, and you are responding to your user, which is fine. In this case, it is fine. Say, let's say all of a sudden your availability zone has gone down here. Okay, that time whatever the request you are sending through internet will come to load balancer, it will go here, right? So but this data, say for example user, first user is there, he will do one transaction. Okay, let's assume bank transaction. So user will send the transaction here, he will deposit here, that it will say for this database it will come 5,000 rupees deposit is happened. But this database is in availability zone A. Same database, either you need to replicate to B and C, right? See, if you don't have a separate architecture for database for replication, you will not see this 5,000 which is entered by red color user before who he entered, right? Now let's say since this availability zone is down, now again after say you will get some error while doing internet transaction, you will close the browser. Again when you open, by the time you will get second availability zone, your application will be available. Say for example HDFC Bank only, you have logged into net banking. Initial time you'll deposit 5,000. After depositing, you want to transfer 2,000 to say for example for Harish. So while transferring 2,000, all of a sudden this web server got some let's say this availability zone has gone down, or the servers due to the memory or CPU utilization has gone down. So now a new servers will be spinned up, right? Now the database whatever is here, you need to take a snapshot and push to this database, and you need to make this database active. So it is all time consuming job, and if the design is not proper, there are a lot of failures and rollbacks happens during the database transactions. So that's the limitation what we have in this three-tier architecture. So what exactly happens is, so at this type of scenarios and all, we will not maintain three database, one here and one here. So this is a poor architecturing skills. So if you are maintaining like this, then you need to again you need to maintain one more architecture for database. Say for example, whatever is reflected here, you need to take a snapshot, and this snapshot should be available here and here asynchronously. I mean synchronously. So as soon as you see a database record here, it should also be visible here. So like this, if you make, yes, then it makes some sense for you to get this architecture. But this and all is again, you need to invest some time and architecturing skills, right? So what Amazon is doing is, Amazon is providing RDS, okay? This is also called as multi-agent. So means multi-availability zones. So what exactly happens here is, say for example, a user is here. Now he will do a transaction. Let's say I'm taking red color, right? So everything is fine, and he will go to web server. From app server, he will go and he will deposit. Now all of a sudden this will go down. Okay. Now the same user will come. I'll select green color. So now since now load balancer will recognize, yes, this under this target group, this mission is down. Since this availability zone is down, this green color request will be redirected to B1. So that time, yeah, he'll go here. The user should have the same database replica here, right? So what RDS will do is, say RDS will not install DB separate DB servers. They'll maintain only one database like this. Let me select with 11, okay? Or let's say I'll keep like this, okay? So RDS will maintain two copies of database. How exact will happen? Let's assume first scenario. First scenario, there is no failures. Okay. So let me delete. Sorry. Okay. So let's assume first scenario. First scenario, everything is fine. No availability zone is down, but you have different availability zones. You have split the traffic, right? So let's say the red color user will come, go to load balancer. He will go like this and he will insert to database. Fine. Now the another request will come. The load balancer will now split to zone B and it will go to this database only. And for third scenario, the traffic will come from external. It will go to load balancer. It will go to web server 3, app server 3, and from app server 3, we'll connect to this database only. You will have only one database, which is called as RDS. And this is also called as multi-agent because it will be in multiple availability zones. Okay. So even this is also EC2 server only, but inside EC2 server, they will install whatever the database you tell. Say you either you want MySQL or Oracle or whatever it is, the SQL. So for Oracle, SQL and other commercial based ones, you need to bring your own license. They will call BYOL, which is bring your own license one. So MySQL is free, right? Otherwise, AWS has own database, Amazon Aurora. So either you can use Amazon Aurora or you can use MySQL. Okay. So you will have only one mission, one EC2 setup you will have. But in this EC2 setup, you will have this as primary. So this and all you cannot see in the setup. Okay, why I'm explaining is in the background, how exactly this will work, RDS will work, you need to understand. That's why I'm explaining all this. So you will have only one database for all the three. So even if you have fourth set of high availability, that fourth set also will be connected to the same database only. That time doesn't matter either it is down or this is down or this is down. So if the fourth one is coming request, the database is same, right? So every user will get the same data what they're trying to access. So you will have only one database, but for this database, this is the primary database, and you will have a second. This is first type of this is a primary database, and secondary database also will be there. This secondary database will be activated when the primary database availability center will be down, or this primary database server will be rebooted or something like that. If you have any issues with primary data center, automatically second EC2 server will be spinned up, and this EC2 server is called as secondary database. Okay, secondary. So you will have secondary database. Now what exactly happens? Say for example, this will go down. Let me take, for example, this will go down. Okay, this database. So once it is gone down, automatically the secondary will become primary. Okay, this will become primary, and this will after the once it is the outage is done, once it is back, then it will become as secondary. So all the setup will be managed by it is automated. It is managed by RDS. You no need to do any of this architecture manually. Okay. So I repeat again here. So you will, whenever you're doing this HA or three-tier architecture things for different HA availabilities, so you will have only one RDS setup. So this is your entire RDS. The blue color one is RDS setup. So in RDS, you will have only two backups. So again, you might ask if the secondary also will go down means. So at a time, two availability zones or two servers will never go down, right? So if you say, for example, if your database is filled, automatically you have auto scaling option here to increase the vertically scaling one, to increase the size of this particular DB server. So don't worry about all those. So you just think that you just make sure that there are two servers, primary and secondary. Primary goes down, secondary will act and response to all the requests which is coming for the data. And whenever the secondary is gone down, again the primary will become as a responding data. This we will see in our lab today. Okay, so we'll create RDS, and so you cannot directly see through user interface which is primary and which is secondary. So but I will show you through NS lookup how exactly primary and secondary databases are there. Okay, so as I told, right, RDS will support multiple things. Multiple databases. One is okay. Let me show you through user interface. You have MySQL. Let me come from here. So under services, click on RDS. See any questions here? So have you?
So Harish, the options you were talking about, right? Like, multiple zone availability and, taking the, increasing the size, once it is reaching the threshold.
Yeah.
Those options will be there while we create
While we
the,
creating, yes.
okay, sure.
So in a traditional three-tier architecture, right, earlier before the cloud or before the AWS, we were creating like this. One more database will be there, and we were creating a snapshot and making the snapshot available here and available here. So like that, a complex architecture was there. So to
Yeah.
maintain this architecture, we need architects, then database engineers, multiple resources were required. Now that's why to eliminate all those resources, even RDS is also an EC2 server only. It is not a big server. What Amazon is going to do, they will take a big EC2 server. Inside the EC2 server, they'll install whatever the software. So for example, you select MySQL, they install MySQL here. So if you select Oracle, they install Oracle, and they will make this database available for you. But all these, say for example, primary is going down, they'll spin up secondary, right? So all these systems are automated. So we no need to rely anything on manually here.
Okay. So it's been handled within their design itself.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
So that's why they call this as multi-agent.
Yeah, yeah. Makes sense. Thanks.
Yeah. So questions? Okay, so now let us see. So okay, now before creating RDS, right? So this is our RDS. So you just check here AWS RDS Microsoft SQL. Okay, so for example, if you want to do Microsoft SQL, so they have some limitations here. Okay, so you need to make sure that resources feature. Mm. Pricing features. So they will have few limitations. I will show you the document link. Uh, so you need to make sure that before selecting, say for example, you are selecting MySQL, right? So this MySQL, they will tell only these are the features which we are supported in RDS, and features which are not supported will be listed here. So you need to tell your either your customer or your DB architect. So boss, when if you are going with the RDS, only these are the features which you are going to support. If tomorrow if you are coming and asking for these features, we cannot support. So that you need to make a SLA before you go to RDS, because database design is one of the most important thing. So whenever you're doing this design, you need to make sure that you need to meet all your customer requirements before you architect the solution and give to them. So that's what I'm trying to say. I'll send you this document link before the end of the session. Okay, now let us see how to create RDS system. So you can see here the resources. What are the resources that RDS will use, or you will have visibility. So database instances, for per account, you can create around 40. If you want more than 40 instances, you can get in touch with AWS and you can get that. So I'm telling this DB instance, this is not schemas, okay? Schemas, you can create any number of schemas under one particular DB instance, right? So that will be there in our hand. But creating DB instances means up to 40 instances you can create. And DB clusters, so clusters also 40, reserved instances, and snapshots. You can take how many snapshots you want, like for example, backing up and saving this in S3, like that. And these are of what type of subnets, under which subnets you are going to use that, and what are the option groups, parameter groups and all. So this we will see while creating the RDS instance. Okay, let's create one database. So this will take around 15 to 20 minutes. I will create the database, and then we will see how to use this database. Because if you want to work with this database, you need some client, right? Like MySQL Workbench, or if you are going with Oracle SQL Workbench, like that. So we will first create the database. It will take around 10 to 15 minutes to spin up this server. Meantime, we will see how to install MySQL Workbench. Okay. So click on create database. So if you are going for easy create, right, you cannot see all the options which like below there will be a lot of options like which VPC and all. So let's go with standard create. And here you can see what are the options that RDS is going to, and the database what RDS is going to support. Amazon Aurora is also open source one. There is no commercial or license one. So this is the Amazon's product, which is built on top of MySQL. So either if you want to go for this one, go this same like a structured SQL language. So structured SQL is nothing but MySQL, SQL, Oracle and SQL, right? So these are structured SQL languages. So MySQL is open source, it is free. Whereas if you are going for Oracle or SQL Server, you need to bring your own license, like they will call as BYOL, bring your own license. So then you can, if you have your license number, then when after selecting Oracle, you need to provide your license number and you can spin up your RDS with Oracle. Now for this session, we will see MySQL is open source, right? We no need of any servers. So to spin up the RDS, we will use MySQL server and we'll spin the RDS. Okay, so after selecting the software, what type of software that needs to be installed in this, say, assume this is a EC2 machine only. In backend, they are going to use EC2, but they will not show us what machine it is, okay? So now you decided to install MySQL inside this database because it is open source. Now after that, what is the next step? You need to decide which version you need to install, right? MySQL, there are multiple versions from 5 to, ranging from 5 to 5.5 to 8.11, I guess. Oh my God, 8.17 it is. Okay, let us select 8.17. So this is, so for example, if you see here, 8 is a major version. After 8, whatever is available here, right, 0.17. These are minor versions. So if you, this is major, right? So whenever you want to upgrade, say for example, 5 is there, 5.7 is there, you want to upgrade to 8.07. Okay, so if you want to do upgrade like this one, uh, yeah. So if you want to upgrade like this one from 5.7.03 to 8.1, if you, so this is a major upgrade because 5 is there and 8 is there. So this major upgrade means definitely you need a restart of this particular RDS. When you are restarting, there is a downtime for this versions. So while selecting version also, you need to make sure you check with your client and put this in SLA. And for minor versions from 0.17, say for example, you're already in 0.11, you want to upgrade to 0.17 for one database feature what they have introduced. So for this is a minor upgrade version, right? RDS is not required for restart. Or you can directly upgrade this one without any restart. Clear? So this was one of the interview questions which was asked. So I tried to. Okay, now see, while you are practicing RDS, right? Don't select your free tier. Yes, free tier is there. It is free only. They will not charge you anything for practice. But in free tier, you will be not able to create like this architecture. Free tier, you will be able to create only one database and everything will be able to connect for that. But we want to see the demo, how multi availability zone of RDS will work, right? So don't select free tier. Let it cost. So around $1, less than $1, less than $half you will be charged for, I'll show you the costing also. So that's fine. It's around 50 to 100 rupees, which is affordable to learn this one. So go for production and let's give the database name as August 1st DB. Okay, and credentials, I'll give the root username as root. And password, either you can give auto generated password and you can give that password for login, or you can give your master password. I'll give you a simple password. Don't give any symbols. It will not accept any symbols here. Okay, now next one is database instance size, right? So here we have three types of instances. So if you remember, while discussing yeah, EC2, different type of instances, we have discussed this one. Standard classes means, so you have standard set of instances like these are the ones which will come under standard. And you have burstable classes. So we also discuss what is burstable instance, right? Say for example, so your, say for example, you have T2 small, okay? So for example, T2, all of a sudden your traffic has been, say you threshold like 90% here, or 99%. So your traffic has reached 99%. These burstable instances can give a flexibility for you for some time, even though if it reaches 100%, your services or instances will be not down. So these are burstable instances, but they'll charge for this, right? Additional charge will be there. So under burstable instances, if you see here, you will get T2 micro. Uh, so if you want to go for bigger instances, you can go and select here, and burstable instance we'll select as, see, T2 micro, it will take too much of time for you to spin up. Even T2 small also will take time, because it will take around 10 to 15 minutes to spin up. So since we have very less time, I'll take some bigger instance like T2 dot medium. We have 2 CPUs and 4 GB RAM, right? So when you go for this one, basically when you select this one, totally 4 CPUs and 8 GB RAM you'll get. If you see here, here 2 CPU and here 2 CPU will come, because we are not creating one instance. When we are selecting multi-agent, it will be 2 instance. So you will be not built for one instance. When you select this T2 dot medium, you will be built for 2 instance. So I'll select T2 medium. So but when you're practicing, at least don't go for T2 micro. A lot of latencies, and you'll be not able to connect. Then you will be not able to figure out, is it because of security groups or is it because of the system is not responding, like that. At least take small when you're trying to practice. For now, I'll take medium.
Harish, sorry,
Yeah,
a quick question here. So the, the, like when we come and talk about the billing perspective, right? Like,
yeah,
the billing, so the memory optimized classes would be more expensive than the other two, right?
correct,
Because of the
correct.
size?
So
Okay.
yeah, because of the configuration, if you see here
Yeah,
2x
yeah.
or 4.2x large, so it is 8 CPUs we have and
Yeah, it's
61
quite
GB of
huge.
RAM. Yeah,
Okay, sure. Thanks.
yeah. So T2 medium. So you can see the billing here below. So DB instance is $49. Okay, if I remove standby, if I don't create standby instance, which is nothing but the second instance, your bill is reduced to $162. If you select multi-agent, right? See the bill, it is $224, because two instances will be created, right? If you don't select multi-agent, if you select only one instance here, and if you don't select this one, that is option here. Availability and durability. If I don't select this option, automatically your bill is reduced. Okay.
So basically, that option is, as you explained, that if we
Yeah.
select this multi-AZ, there would be a standby
Yeah.
system
Standby. A
like
backup.
available,
Correct.
in case it goes down.
If it goes down, automatically this will be up. That's what we are
Okay.
going to see in the demo. First, we'll create a schema. We'll create a table here in this mission, in mission one, and we'll try to pull that data and see whether it's coming or not. If it is successfully coming, then we'll reboot this mission, because I cannot bring availability zone down, right?
Yeah.
AWS one. So we'll reboot this mission. While rebooting, we'll create. There is option like. I'll show you. I'm not could not recollect. There is some option you
Sure,
need
sure.
to enable. Once you enable that option, let me check. So option is like. Yeah, we will see. I couldn't recollect that what
No, no
option.
problem, Harish.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So yeah. So your instance selection is done. DB instance size. Next one is storage. So we have seen IOPS under general purpose, right? Or magnetic one. So magnetic means your billing will be reduced here. See, your billing is automatically reduced. If you are going for general purpose SSD, little more costly, $3 extra. Or if you are going for a IOPS one, right? Come on. Provisioned IOPS. So you can see your billing has been increased. So let's go with general purpose SSD here. So can you recollect what are these options we have discussed, right, in our EC2 classes? So general purpose and IOPS differences.
I guess the provisioned IOPS basically have high throughputs.
Yeah,
Like, for like there would be very less latency,
correct.
increased performance.
Yeah,
The general purpose would be like having a bit of latency
yeah, bit lesser than provisioned
compared
IOPS
to,
and better
exactly,
than magnetic. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah.
perfect. So storage allocation 20 GB and so this is your database storage. If you're giving 20 GB, you can use up to 20 GB of storage. And if you keep auto scaling, and the maximum threshold is if you are keeping after 1000 GB, means up to 1000 GB you can scale. Now you kept 20 GB, right? What is the size you can scale here? So up to 1000 GB you can scale. That's what you're specifying here. And availability and durability, this already explained, right? Like if you select this one, a replica will be created as a backup. If you don't select, only one database will be created. But we want to see multi-agent RDS, right? So that's why I select this option. And so even though you selected only one instance, 3 to medium, the backup instance will be with same configuration, T2 medium, 2 CPUs and 4 GB RAM. Backup mission also. So you'll be charged for two missions, two CPUs here, 2 CPUs here, and 4 GB, 4 GB. That's what the cost is high there. And connectivity. So select our VPC and additional settings. If you go subnet after database is created, you cannot change the VPC selection. Okay. So public, enable the public access because we are connecting from external internet, right? Usually they will not enable this public access for security reasons, because most of your app servers and web servers will be inside, say for example, web servers will be in public subnet, this will be in private subnet. So this also will be in private subnet. So we no need to give public access, but because we are connecting directly from external internet to this one, let's enable public for this, for demo. And VPC security groups, I'm select August for security group. Okay, say okay, when you're trying to connect to database, right? If you are not able to connect and if your connection is not successful, just first step is check your security groups whether you have allowed all traffic or not. So the database will run on 3306 HTTP port. Either you can, if you want to check only about this port, enable this port in your security group for must and should. And return port also you should enable under outbound rules. Okay, but for this setup we enabled all traffic, right? So nothing to worry about here. So then
So one quick question, Harish. You
yeah,
know how you've selected the VPC.
yeah,
So suppose if we have created the database, can this be changed to other VPC later,
no,
or
no,
we
no,
cannot?
no, 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 you cannot change the VPC. That's I guess the
Oh, okay. There's a
VPC.
message. Sorry, I didn't see this message underneath. Yeah, yeah, all good.
Yeah,
Thanks.
yeah, yeah, here, yeah. After a database is created, you cannot change the VPC. Okay. So public access is enabled. You have selected security group. Then your database default MySQL will run on 3306, and authentication, if you want to give your password authentication, you can give. Otherwise, if you want to associate IAM role, you can select, but we already gave password authentication, right? We'll be using that one only. And additional configuration, initial database name I'll leave blank. We'll create a new schema, and let's give this as a, leave this as a default ones. And the database retention period, let's leave it to default thing. These are self-explanatory options you can see. And if you want to enable any other encryption models, suppose by default KMS key ID is allocated to this one for the database RDS encryption. If you want to, if your company is giving any other encryption models, you can select this one here by giving add key. You can select and add it here. This is just for encrypting your data. And monitoring, I just enable enhanced monitoring so that we can see the performance of CPU and other metrics. After creating, I'll show you under monitoring here. So error log I'll enable, general log I'll enable, and slow query log. Okay, and auto maintenance is okay. So here if you select this option, right, all the minor versions will be automatically as I told, right, 8.0 other versions will be automatically upgraded without asking any notification. If you want to give any select window, if you want to do some maintenance for these activities, then you can give maintenance window here. So you can give a regular expression, or you can select these options. So I'll say no preference. So enable delete protection is self-explanatory, and this is your monthly cost based on our configuration. This would be your approximate monthly RDS cost. Okay, let's create the database.
So Harish, in this one you did not opt for that replication one. Sorry, the standby one.
Really?
Because the cost was showing as 103 something, so that's what I was just
No,
thinking.
because we removed IOPS provision and we kept general SSD, right? That's why the
Okay.
cost has been known. So we'll see once the database is created. So it will take some time. So if you see here, initially it is creating. So they should be either active or available. I don't know what is exact status really. So let's come back here. So once this database is successfully created, right? What exactly will happen now? In the background, this in EC, it will spin up EC2 instance, two EC2 instances. So it will install MySQL server in both the instances. After installing MySQL server, this both internally, what my assumption, they have not declared anywhere. So one of my architect has told this is what the backend architecture is. So what exactly they might be doing is, this is EC2 and this is EC2, right? So this is primary server. Initially, they'll make this as primary server. They'll mark this as secondary server. Both the servers will be connected to a network load balancer, and they will be providing you endpoint. So we will be using this endpoint to connect to our MySQL clients or third-party clients. So whenever this is going down, our load balancer will know the primary is not down. So it will route all the requests to secondary. And this will be made as primary. So once this is back, then they will make this as secondary, and this will be primary. Now once this primary is gone down, they'll make this as primary. So this algorithm and this logic will be internally maintained. Clear?
Yeah, Harish.
Yeah. So initially when RDS is
One just quick thing again, it came into my mind. Like, say, you know, you selected a VPC, right?
Yeah.
So that VPC might have, say, like, as in how you explained, right? It will automatically have a backup like DB instance in other availability in case zone A is gone down. It will make that as a primary. Suppose I mean, if there are 3 availability zone, the VPC has 3 subnets in 3 different zones. Okay?
Correct. Yeah.
How does it identify? I mean, is it just their call to have A and then other one as a backup in C, or?
Yeah, initially last year and all, Namita, when I was creating, we need to select these subnets manually. Okay. Now, when we selected, now the option, I'm not getting that option while creating. So when you select this option, automatically all the subnets will be mapped to this particular thing. Now, we are not sure in which subnet they're going to create primary and which subnet they're going to create secondary. But they will make sure that
there are 2.
there are 2.
So we won't get to know which
Yeah.
one they have, but there would
No.
be two.
Yeah,
If
yeah.
we select. Okay.
So initially it was like we can select subnet 1 and subnet 3 if you select. One will be in this. Initially also they will not tell either in which subnet it is primary, which subnet it is secondary. So we will just assume one if two are there, this is in these two the missions are created. Now by default, if you select VPC, all the subnets are loaded.
Yeah, sure. Thanks, Harish.
Yeah. So this AWS, the user interface options, they keep on changing and they'll be keep on upgrading. So we should be keep on working on this to get familiarized.
Yeah.
So if you see here, still it's creating. See, even though we took T2.medium, it's taking this much time to install and create. So meanwhile, so now we have selected MySQL as a database to work, right? So if you want to connect to this MySQL, so MySQL server will be installed here, okay? To access it, to query the server, to get the data, to push the data, other things, we need a client right here for us. So let us, that is called MySQL Workbench. So you can download MySQL Workbench from here. MySQL. So this is a client which is used to connect to MySQL server. So I'll just put this link here in the chat. Okay. So try copy paste that link in your local. So download this client, install this client. Once you install this client, you will have this option like this. Yeah, this is a workbench. So either you can download directly client and install, or you can install this through installer also. So MySQL installer will be there. So once you open your installer, let me should have. So if you install this installer, say I have two things installed, two products. One is MySQL server and one is MySQL Workbench, which is already installed here. So if you initially for you, once you open this installer, it will be blank. So go and click on add, and here you can select if you want to locally install your server, this is the option. But this MySQL server we installed in RDS, right? AWS. So forget about this. And applications, you select your Workbench. And for me, it is disabled because already Workbench is added. The topmost version is already added. So for you, it will be enabled. So click out here and push this side. Once it is coming this side, you can next and you can execute. So that automatically it will be installed. Once it is installed, you can directly search here like MySQL Workbench. Okay. So your Workbench will be opened. So this is my previous connections. So initially there will be no connections for you. Click on this add button. So then you will have options. So you can give the connection name. So I'll give here August 1st RDS, AWS RDS. And what is the host name, right? So this host name, since we have made multi-agent, right? We don't know what is this host name or what is this host name. So we should not give this one. So once your RDS is up, right? So still it's modifying. So let's go and check if endpoint is created. So you have endpoint created. So now the system is already created, means it has spinned up two instances and it has made in connecting one endpoint here. So one endpoint is created here. So now copy this endpoint and you need to use this endpoint as your host, similar to network load balancer or auto scaling groups, right? So we will be using this endpoint and sharing this with for the end users to use. So go to your Workbench. Remove your host name here. This is your local host name. Suppose if you are running local server, let me show you. So this is my local server. My MySQL is running on this particular port. So I can use this one for connecting. But So if you see here, I got my connections for my local, but I want to connect to my, let me close this one. I want to connect to 15th RDS, which is AWS mission. Yeah, 15th RDS. Sorry, not July 15th, right? It's okay. We didn't create itself. So it is August 1st, AWS RDS lab. So give your endpoint here in the place of host name. This is our database name, and this is the endpoint which is created for this database. Port, if you remember, we have not changed the default port, right? It is in 3306 only. And username, so the username what we provided is root, and this is our password. So we can store the password in vault, and default schema we have not given. So first test the connection. If the connection is not successful, then there is something messy with your network configuration. Now the connection is successful, right? So now we can connect with the RDS what we have created. Say for example, if this got failed for you, first check the security groups, what ports you have enabled. So that would be your first option. Otherwise, then you need to check your VPC and your subnets. What VPC you have selected in that particular VPC, what exact setup you have. Okay. So once you click OK, so your connection will be established. Open this connection. Then you will have an MySQL editor. Any questions here? Yeah, if you see here, now there are no schemas in my database, right? So this is a blank database what we created in RDS, AWS RDS. This one. Yeah. Go to your August 1st. Still it's not available. It is modifying the data. So the status should be available. Once it is available, then you can connect. But right now we are able to connect to database. Let us try to create a schema in this MySQL workbench. Okay, so this is purely into database classes. I will not dig in detail. What I'll do is I'll just simply create one schema, default schema. Under the schema, I'll create one simple table. For this table, we'll insert one or two records, and we'll query this record, and we'll see whether we are able to get it or not. Initial time. So first test what we'll do is we'll query and we'll see whether the table results are available, and later we'll make one of the system. So we'll make one of the system down, and we'll query. Sorry. Let me check here. Yeah. So later we will query again, and when the system is down, we will see whether this query is immediately responding or not, or we are getting the results from backup database or not. So if you see here, we have not done any manual configuration for this backup, right? So one second, sorry. So if you see here, we have not done any manual configuration. Like first this mission, once this mission is gone down, then you need to make a backup here and keep this backup here. So this manual taking of snapshots and pushing to this mission, we have not done anything. That RDS will take care. So, but we need to test, right? As a part of this one, we need to test whether the RDS is doing the job or not. So what we'll do is we will just make query one table, make the SQL down, primary database down, and we'll check whether the results are available from secondary database or not. Okay. So to create a schema, so just click it here. I'll use the user interface instead of this one. Let me say test schema. So this is your query. So you can start the copying your queries. Otherwise, you can also export one after this one. So I'll create a new table. So I'll give the name as employee table. So I'll keep as ID, primary key, name, and date of birth. So let us say this date, and we'll say enough 4 columns. I'll just keep active whether the employee is active or not. Okay, so let's create a table. So this is your schema for creating table. Okay, just refresh here, so you can see your employee table. So insert the data to this table. So I'll give name 1, and I'll say 1992. One more account. Okay, we are inserting 3 here. So if you click, so this is the insert queries. Yeah, so let's close all these things, create a new query. So use test schema. So then select star from employee. So we are getting this one right. So let's see one condition also, where active equal to. Okay, so now what we have done, we have created a simple schema inside a database. So once the schema is created, we have created a simple table called employee. In the table, we have given 4 columns: ID, name, date of birth, and active. ID is primary key, and it should be not null. And name is a varchar of 100 I have given. At max 100 letters can be given per name. Date of birth, I have selected that format as date. And active status is like a soft copy, soft delete. For that purpose we'll use. So I have given only one, either Y or N. So this is a simple table which we created, and we have inserted the data. Any questions here? So this is same. Yeah, this is MySQL, right? It is same even in Oracle also. You can create, you can use the commands while creating. So now what we have done, so we have connected to our RDS. Now we are creating this in RDS. Initially, so if you see here, this is my local, right? In my local, yeah. So if you see in my local, if I create, the data will be saved in my local machine in this computer. But if I since we are connected through RDS, so our RDS will be connected to here. So this one, if you go here, databases. So for this August 1st DB, it will be connected. Okay. So this is database. Okay. So in one database, you can create multiple number of schemas. So this is one schema we have created. So if you want to create one more schema, you can click here and you can create new schema like this. From here it is same, like how exactly you are creating with MySQL, it is same with RDS also, because this is also an EC2 mission. Inside this EC2 mission, you just install MySQL. So whatever you do in MySQL, same thing you can do here, but our database will be in multi-agent environment. Any queries here? Okay, no queries or not understood? Okay, now we have seen, so let's assume, so the database is created, okay, multi-agent environment database, but we are not sure whether the data is inserted for this mission or for this mission, right? So to do that, we have an option here. So I'll open this notepad and, okay, so copy the endpoint of the database here. So this is your endpoint for your RDS. So copy your endpoint. So once you copy this endpoint, so open your command prompt here and do netstat, what is the command? Oh, sorry, it is ns lookup. Sorry, clear ns lookup. It should show which router I connected. I connected belong gateway. Okay, now give this endpoint here. Yeah. So if you give here, so it will show you, right, for what are the server names. If you see here, you can see this is EC2. This is a EC2 mission, correct? This is a EC2 endpoint, the name of that particular EC2 mission. But then in the user interface, they never show you what EC2 mission instance name, which available subnets and all. So what I will do, I will copy paste this one. Okay. So copy paste before restart of RDS.
Harish, you have been able to do this because you have not restricted any access while creating the RDS, right? So it's public.
Yeah, we kept this as public, right? Even though
That's
if it
why.
is in private, we can do ns lookup. So it will show for which name space lookup. So actually, you can give in a single command like this, ns lookup.
Okay.
Clear. So if you, oh sorry. So if you give ns lookup and execute, it should show which server it is connected. So this is endpoint, right? Now this endpoint is mapped to this particular EC2. So that is the meaning of this one. So we are connecting to MySQL using this endpoint, but we don't know what is the EC2, which is primary server, right? So we have two servers, one is primary, one is secondary. So we want to know which is prime. So now we have created some employee table and we have executed some schema, right? Either in this or this, we don't know, right? So to do that, just we executed ns lookup and endpoint. So we have got some details like which EC2 mission and the address of that particular mission. Now I copy pasted those details into this notepad. So now let us make this, let me clear this. So now let us make this this one down here, and we will see whether this is spinning up automatically. And in this mission also, all the employee schema tables, whatever we have created, should be available with same endpoint. That's the agenda what we're trying to do here.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So as I told, right, I cannot bring the availability zone down, this complete availability zone down. So what I'll do, I'll restart this mission. Once if I restart this mission, the primary one should go to secondary one. Okay. So that's that. Let's do that and we'll see. So let me name this as before restart of RDS. This is the primary. Okay. So now let me put after restart. So if you want to restart, so just go to your database here, select the database, go to actions, click on reboot here. While creating reboot, yeah, failover. Sorry, this was the option, Amita. You need to enable this failover option. If you enable this failover option, then automatically the primary will become, it will be cancelled, and this will secondary will become as primary. Okay, select this fail.
One other question, Harish.
Yep.
You have noted there in the that notepad
Yep.
that this is I mean, now we know that this is a primary.
Primary, yeah.
Because
So
it's just an endpoint, right? For us, when we create an
yeah,
endpoint, basically has those two instances. I mean, we don't know which one is primary. Even with that, whatever you just copied, how do we know this is
so because
also?
see, when we hit this endpoint, only one EC2 machine is associated for this endpoint, right? We are not getting second one, which in turn means this is the primary for now. Whatever we hit with this endpoint is coming to this
Oh,
EC2 machine and storing the
okay.
data. So
Okay.
if that's what in the background we have discussed, right?
Yeah. I mean,
Mm,
I understood what
yeah,
you're saying. I thought,
no,
I mean, yeah, that's fine. It makes sense now. Yeah.
sure. Yeah. Now, when you are killing this instance, right, restarting. So let us try to hit the select query. The query either it should response the delay or it should fail over, because if this will take some time, because we are running in T2 medium or small, it will take some time to get it. Either we need to increase the timeout or the query will give the response. Let's see how exactly that will happen.
So the backup will take time for
Yeah,
it to be up and running. Okay.
just some around 10 to 20
Yeah.
seconds.
No worries.
So because then we have not configured network as in a exact production version, right? So you need to select this option. If you don't select this option, what exactly will happen, right? So it will reboot the same instance and it will give the response from this one only. So it will not consider this as a failover. So it will be considered as a downtime. Say for example, you yourself raised a change request to upgrade version 5 to 8. So that time you will not select this option because it's a planned downtime. So if you select like this, it's unplanned downtime. Like, okay, now I have rebooted the instance. So if I reboot the instance, so before that, so if you see here, the status is getting rebooted. Now let us go to MySQL Workbench and use. So let's start from. So if you see here, initially it was immediately it was responding with the 2-3 lines, right? Whatever we had. Now it is taking some time to respond, which in turn it is trying to. This is getting rebooted, so all these snapshot will be pushed this one, and this server will be up, and it will be responded through the same endpoint. So that's what will happen here. That's the reason the response is getting delayed here. So so in the real time, how exactly this will manage, right? So you will have a front end application facing. So if a user will through this form he will submit, if the database primary is gone down, right, till the time secondary will come up, it will be some time like around 10 seconds, 15 seconds like that. So here the outage time, I mean the response out time will be 15 seconds. Like connected timeout to how we give. Similarly, here we will give the timeout for this particular query for 15 seconds. The developer will be given in application itself.
Harish,
Yeah,
on
go.
the restarting,
Yeah.
isn't it depend on the size of the database?
Uh, doesn't matter go what size it is, because snapshots will be very quick.
Oh,
The only thing is whether mapping up the endpoint to another server, that is what exactly is taking time, I guess.
all right, cool.
Yeah. So if you see here, let's fire it again. Once we get response, now again we will do this NS lookup for the same endpoint, and we'll copy and verify whether whether this address of IP address of first EC2 machine has been changed or not. Okay.
Harish,
Yeah.
sorry, on this one,
Mm-hmm.
that it is not directly related to this, but the NS lookup command you used in two ways. In one way, you actually gave that endpoint together with NS lookup, and in another time you gave it
No, so,
separately.
no. Just to check whether my NS lookup is responding in my system or not.
Yeah, no. So
Uh,
actually, the output in both of them was little different because in this other case where you did not give the endpoint together,
mm-hmm.
it it gave the actual name of that system, and in the other case when you're giving the endpoint together, it was giving the alias only. It was not giving the actual name EC2 and something like that.
Okay. I'm not a complete networking guy. So yeah, But anyways, we are getting the IP address and name of this machine. Okay, we are not
Yeah.
getting the mission name. We are getting the lookup.
The alias only we are
alias
getting
only.
that.
Yeah, so we can do ns lookup. And
Yeah. Now give the endpoint. No.
no. So let's check with IP address. IP address should be different.
Yeah, I guess if it is pulling from the next, the secondary, I mean,
Yeah.
making the secondary as primary, it should be different.
Yeah.
So let's check this one. Yeah, it is available.
Available.
Yeah. Let's check whether this is executing or not.
Can there be a case, Harish, wherein rebooting is quicker or maybe same time? Both are up?
No,
I'm
it
just
should
asking. It's just like a general, generic question, not related to the bit which you're doing. I'm clear. I mean, it's clear with what you're trying to do.
Yeah, yeah.
But as we have just gone with an option of rebooting, but we
Yeah.
have selected that, right? So it should make that as a primary. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. So we're not able to connect to this endpoint after reboot. Let's check why. Go to the database. Endpoint is. Have you selected the option of available zone? Yes, to be. Okay, let's try connecting again. There are some settings like configuration. So here, I guess you need to save your credentials for both the connections. SQL. Usually when the primary will change to secondary, right, this zone also will be changed to 2A or 2C, but it will at least take 15 minutes to reflect in the user interface. That's why I choose this NS lookup option to showcase. Okay, let's see here. Not authority also. So I guess something is wrong with the let's check availability zone whether we have activated properly. So if you see here, it's connected. Now let's check NS lookup of this one. Let's execute this query. Yeah, so it's responding. If you go to non-authoritative answer, why it's showing this? Let's wait until this is available. This rebooting. Yeah. So if you see here, either you can confirm here whether the zone has been before earlier it was showing 2B, right? Now it is showing 2C. Or if you do NS lookup, I guess it's showing same. So it is same IP. So basically this IP should get changed. I'm not so sure why it's not changed. Either you should confirm
Zone
here.
has changed, actually. Zone was 2B before.
Yeah, zone was 2B. This is 2C. Usually earlier, it was taking around 15 to 20 minutes to reflect this zone, even though the restart is happened after the failover, and we will able to successfully query here, right? So it will be from backup server, we are getting the response. Still, it was taking around 20 minutes to showcase. Because we were selecting T2.small or T2 micro instances. That's why I said to select T2 medium, so that it will be this type of issues would be avoided. So even though, so let us check rebooting one more time. So now this should not respond immediately. Yes, still the old distance is okay. So if you see here, yeah. Let's wait to get at least this zone be changed. So see, try to understand how exactly the concept will work exactly like this. So the only thing which we couldn't see here is after you restart this machine, we before restarting we got some IP address, right? The EC2 IP address through NS lookup. So now it is initially it was in 2B. Now it is showing 2C. Now after the restart, either it should show 2B or 2A. That's what expected. So because this was delaying earlier in Amazon user interface, so we were using this NS lookup to showcase for the students. So now the same thing I try to use. So we will get a IP when you do initially. So after the restart, once your query start responding here, right? So again do a NS lookup. So if you see here, it's taking too much of time. Now means now the machine has started restarting, creating snapshot and pushing to the other machine. So let's wait for few time. So this check we have been failed. Like we need to check second EC2 mission IP address, which should be this should be different and this should be different. So let's try now. After this is available, we'll try to do a NS lookup and check. Otherwise, just yeah. To see. Yeah. So I guess it's not showing. So I'll try to create.
In this case also, now it is we went with rebooting, right?
Yeah.
I understand that you selected that option of that fail over whatever,
Yep.
so that the backup will be a primary now.
Yep.
But I mean, the problem here is we are getting the same IP, so it's looks like
Yep.
it's just trying to pull it from the same primary database. Is it?
Yeah, so that's what it's not correct, right? And it should not be from the same EC2. It should be a different mission and in
IP
different
should be
availability
different
zone.
if the other one is the primary now.
Yeah, there's something messy. So if you can bear for 20 to 25 minutes, we can create one more DB. Otherwise, I'll create a video and I will upload this video to you guys. So see, nothing changed. The process is same. Whatever we have done, we are able to connect to MySQL Workbench and we are able to do this one. So only check is the lab check we have failed after the failover. it is not showing the second the instance EC2 address. This should be changed. Basically, this should be changed to 2C or 2B or 2A. So, but since the mission is not showing the EC2 address, I'll try to create one more database and we'll check. Either we can check that if you have 20 minutes of time option, but we need to extend the class now. Otherwise, I can create a video and I can upload to you guys and share the link by tomorrow. But the process is same. Nothing changed in the process here. So okay. So before that, let me explain you a few options here. Like query editor means instead of going to MySQL and doing the querying and all, so you can quickly do the queries directly here. So let me. So click on query editor. Current query editor supports only Aurora. Okay, it is not supporting MySQL. It supports only Aurora. So just ignore that one. And performance insights, so you can check the performance of your database, either like CPU metrics or IOPS or what throughput it is coming, what are the peak times and other times when you're querying or when you're doing like that. And the snapshots means it's like taking a backup and storing in SW. So like you can select and you can take a snapshot. And automatic backups means you can schedule like similar to in EC2 we have launch configuration, right? So yeah, launch configuration. So like that we have option here to take a backups. And reserved instances means this you will go, you can reserve some database instances. Say for example in North Virginia, zone 1A, right? A lot of demand will be there. So but if you know that your project is coming, so then you can reserve the instances using this option. Proxy, you can make some proxy settings. Suppose if you wanted to, if you're in a VPC and you want to do some proxy settings. Subnet groups, placement groups and options we have seen while creating. Events and event subscriptions are similar to CloudWatch logs. So you can create, so for example, if the database throughput is, I mean the burst is going right, when you are selecting burst images, the performance is reaching around the threshold. So you can create an event. So similar to CloudWatch log events. And so we have other options here. So go to database. So go to actions. So if you see here, you have option like create read replica, right? So whenever you have a requirement like, so your application production application is pushing the data to your database like this. Okay. So now if you want to pull, do some reporting from your database, even you are also going to put load like this for your database, it will be very difficult, right? So what it will do is once you create read replica, so it will create a copy of this backup and it will give you for reporting, so that the load will be not disturbed for this particular database. But remember one thing, read replica will have only read only access. Okay, if you want write access, then you need to enable some option here. Let me check what option it is. Go to database. Promote. So this promote option, so it is disabled because we have not done any read replicas, right? So once you click on promote option, it will take, you will be able to write also. So reboot, stop, delete, these are, suppose if you want to terminate the instance of lab, click on actions and delete. So since we enable delete protection, we cannot delete here. First go to modify, remove that enable protection in this instance, then you can delete the database. Clear?
Yeah, Harish.
So any questions, guys? So after this session, if you want to stay in the line, you can stay. I'll try to create one more database and we'll check that IP address is getting changed or not, whether exactly that agent, multi-agent is working or not. Otherwise, if you're having some work, you can drop off. But anyways, I'll record that as a different session and I'll be sharing it in Drive.
Thanks, Harish.
I'm staying, Harish.
Yep, cool.
Thank you, Harish. Yeah.
Yeah, Chan. Okay, so let me stop.